What will a Donald Trump versus Kamala Harris contest look like, Robert Costa?
Well, there's breaking news just now. Within the last hour, I spoke with former President Donald Trump, and I asked him, will you debate Vice President Harris? There is a scheduled debate for this fall with another network. And he said, I can't make that decision right now because I'm not sure she's going to emerge as the Democratic nominee. That's what he told CBS News just within the last couple of minutes. Former President Trump on his social media account said, my debate with President Biden, which was slated to be broadcast in September, now that he's quit the race, he believes he's going to pull out of the debate. He said, quote, now that Joe has not surprisingly quit the race, I think the debate with whomever the Democrats choose should be held on Fox News rather than ABC News. So there had been a commitment to have a second presidential debate at another network. Now former President Trump has pulled out of that scheduled September debate, and he is urging Fox News to hold the debate. That's happened just within the last few minutes. And this comes as a very fluid situation. Based on my conversation with former President Trump and his campaign allies, they are now evaluating this race in a totally different way. I have been told in the last few minutes ads are being prepared against Harris in case she emerges as the Democratic nominee, and they are preparing for an onslaught against her, and they feel no pressure to participate in anything unless it's on their terms because they believe they're in a strong position, especially as the Democrats still haven't formally solidified her as the nominee.
But does it also suggest that Donald Trump or his campaign advisors are worried about a matchup with a prosecutor like Kamala Harris?
Well, former President Trump told me he's not worried at all. He said he's going to, I don't have the exact quotes in front of me right here, but he used very descriptive language to describe how he's not worried and how he's going to put on the shoulders of Vice President Harris or whoever emerges as the nominee a lot of political attacks. Vicious attacks is the way he kind of described it, on immigration, the border, the economy. That's all coming, he said, whether it's Harris or not. And just as we saw now, he's pulling out of the debate unless it's on his terms. Now he wants it at a different network.
That was scheduled for September the 10th on a competing network. Our network, though, in full disclosure, Nora, had also had plans for a vice presidential debate that Vice President Kamala Harris had committed to. The Trump campaign had not yet. So they hadn't committed to that either.
They don't know who's going to be the VP.
Exactly. So will they do that now? And who will J.D. Vance face off against in this? I mean, there are just so many questions out here. And you wonder if there is a desire to freeze as a snapshot in time June 27th and have that be the defining moment.
You asked the right question. In almost any other political cycle, if you had a female nominee suddenly become the nominee for a party, the other party would start asking questions about what does this mean in terms of affecting key voters in the suburbs of Atlanta, Georgia, or Philadelphia, or Milwaukee, Wisconsin. But frankly, just based on our reporting, that's not how the Trump campaign thinks. They don't think about gender as an issue that needs to be confronted and maybe danced around politically. They have a full, blunt force political view of how they're going to attack the ticket on the Democratic side.
But a top Democratic strategist that I just spoke with moments ago said they are eager to have Vice President Kamala Harris run against, in their words, a convicted rapist, someone who is responsible for putting 3 conservative judges on the Supreme Court that overturned Roe versus Wade. I said, but you can imagine what the attacks will be like. We've seen the campaign. We remember the campaign between Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton. And this strategist said, bring it. We're ready. This is a different era. What about how will suburban women in 2024 react to attacks on the first woman of color to lead a party's ticket?
It's already underway. Go spend some time on X or Instagram or TikTok. They're already trashing her, both personally and from a policy perspective. So they've been seeing a sampling of it for the last 3 weeks, certainly, even before then.
And we saw it.
We
saw a small slice of it at the Republican National Convention.
So she knows what's coming.
Nikki Haley.
Right.
This was a part of her campaign.
Yes, I mean, and so speaking of people who are probably sitting there today going, I told you so, Nikki Haley would certainly be among them because she had said this is going to happen inevitably, and now it has.
One of the things that I've been hearing, Nora, from Democrats I talked to is what does this sort of reboot? And certainly for progressive Democrats, they like this changes the conversation on Gaza, for example, something that had been a negative for Joe Biden, particularly with young voters and black voters, as we saw in our CBS polling, was a negative for him. she has been more sensitive on this issue in terms of loss of Palestinian life. She has been out there on college campuses. She has channeled some of that empathy in a way that Joe Biden was criticized for not doing. It also reboots the conversation on reproductive health care. Joe Biden, very clear, not big on it was his phrase, didn't even like saying the word abortion. And we know Republicans don't want to talk about that, as we just saw at the RNC, where it was just really almost erased entirely from the RNC platform. So those things are strengths for her, and some within the Democratic Party are excited that she can prosecute that case if she were ever on a debate stage or just on the campaign trail against Donald
To the
Trump.
point about Gaza, for example, when he gave speeches earlier this year, she was seeing drafts of them. She was sending back language to them saying he's got to say something more sympathetic about the plight of the Palestinian people. Put that in there. They put that in there. On abortion, remember she went to a health clinic in Minnesota shortly earlier this year, became the first sitting vice president to do so, and used language far more explicit than the president ever does to describe what it is women face when they come to a facility like that and when their potential rights are at risk, the risks medically that they might face.
When the vice president went to an actual clinic.
Right, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, she said, she's like, I have no problem saying the word uterus, she said, for example. And she watched and she joked later about how the men in the room kind of blanched. But she said, that's how comfortable I am talking about this, and that's how I will talk about this.